Good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending on whereabouts you are in the world. You are currently watching The Techie Flautist, and for those of you whom I haven't met, my name is Emma. Today we are going to be looking at how the flute is actually just a human baby in disguise, the banana flute, and how to travel to and from school safely with your flute. But first, a special shout out to the Mellon family, without whom the creation of this video would not have been possible. And just a small tiny disclaimer, no flutes or babies were harmed during the making of this video. So you have decided to start playing flute. Congratulations, I am so excited for you, but before your first flute lesson, there are just a few things your teacher would love you to be aware of. And the biggest and most important thing that I would like you to know is that your flute is just like a baby. Flute. Baby. Flute. Baby. Oh look, that one's me. Wasn't I cute? Now, as I'm sure you are fully aware, babies have a head, a body, and feet. Similarly, each flute has a head, a body, and feet. Foot. A foot, technically. One. Singular. Sorry, Flo. Now, when you pick up your baby, you're going to be very, very careful so that you don't hurt them. And you're definitely not going to pick it up by its head, or its foot, or even its arms, for that matter. Similarly, when you pick up your flute, you're not going to pick it up just by grabbing its head or just by grabbing its foot. This is because, particularly with school flutes, sometimes the joins of the flute get really loose, and if you pick it up by either end, the rest of the flute drops on the floor and gets damaged. We don't drop flutes. Don't drop instruments in general, but please do not drop your flute. The other thing to keep in mind is when you pick it up, you do not want to grab any of the keywork. This is very delicate. It's got lots of moving parts, tiny little wires, screws, and springs that will be easily damaged. It would kind of be like picking up your baby by the face. Just like, don't go there. Instead, pick it up by the top where there is no keywork. And you'll be fine. You won't hurt it then. Now, just like you wouldn't leave your beloved baby just lying around anywhere, you are also not going to leave your beloved flute lying around anywhere. For example, you would not leave it sitting on the couch. You never know who is going to come along, what they're going to do, or what they're going to spill. Another place you don't want to leave your flute or your baby is on your bed, for two reasons. Reason number one, doesn't apply to flutes as much. They might roll off and hurt themselves. Reason number two, your grandma, who you love dearly, who spoils you with cake and biscuits and dip, but whose eyesight just isn't what it used to be, might come along and accidentally sit on them. And that would be very bad for child and flute. This is what I call a banana flute. It is very, very sad. It is never going to be a flute ever again. Don't know what happened to it. I found it like this. But do not let this become your flute. Just note. Another thing that I'm sure you're all aware of is once you have a baby, you're not just going to leave it at home when you go out. That would be really bad. That would be child abuse. Similarly, you're not going to leave your flute at home every time you go out. You're going to take it to your lessons and you're going to take it to band rehearsals. Otherwise, it's flute abuse. And poor Flo, she'll get really lonely. Plus, your teacher will be a little bit annoyed at you. When you take your baby out, as much as you want to, you are not going to simply pop them in the boot of your car. I mean, it looks like fun. I speak from personal experience. It is a little bit fun. I wasn't a baby, I was a bit older. But it is completely unsafe and totally illegal in Australia. Don't worry, when I did it, I wasn't actually in Australia. But you're not going to do that to your flute either, because your flute is like a baby. If you wouldn't do it with a baby, don't do it with a flute. Instead, just like you would rug your baby up and strap them into a specially designed baby car seat, you are going to take your flute apart and pop it in the specially designed flute case. And that way neither flute nor baby will be damaged in the transition process. Please, please, please do not try and balance your flute on your music stand. I know it looks like it would fit perfectly, but just don't do it. Music stands are precarious. They are prone to dropping things. They are prone to being knocked. It's not a good idea. You wouldn't do it with your baby, so don't do it with your flute. To put your flute into its lovely flute case, hold it where there are no keys and gently twist the instrument apart. Sometimes you might find it gets a little stiff. The magic trick that we tell all students is just to twist. The stiffer it is, the more you need to twist. Don't just pull. It's not a good idea. Next, you will notice a ridge in the side of the flute case. This is for the lip plate, so simply line up your head joint so that it slots in. Now, remember how the keys are the most delicate part of the instrument. This means we want to put as little pressure on them as possible, so the majority of the keys are always going to be facing up. The arrow on the flute points to the outside of the flute case. Finally, you will notice the body has a sticking out key. It's called technically the G-sharp key, but I like to think of it as the heart of your instrument because the flute loves you so much it's always going to be pointing towards you. Then just close the lid and make sure all the latches and zips are properly shut. Once you have arrived at your destination and you're ready to open up your flute case, make sure it's lying flat on either the floor, a table, or your lap works as well. Next, it is very important to make sure the case is not upside down. If you open the case and it's upside down, the instrument will fall out and you risk damaging it. To work out whether it's the right way up or not, look for the text on the outside of the flute case because this is always going to be on the top of the case. And the other cool trick is the latches, I reckon 9 times out of 10, always open upwards unless you've got the little slidey ones where you just kind of like squeeze them both at the same time to the side. And some cases you'll find like this one have a zip. I don't like flute cases with zips. The zips always break and it then gets really awkward trying to open them. And you gotta buy a new case, which kind of sucks. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments. And until next time, happy practicing! Thank you.